am Kaitlin, and I am not going to sing for you tonight because that is a punishment that nobody needs on a Saturday evening. But I did bring a couple pictures that I'm hoping are large enough for most of you to see. So we'll start with this one here. I don't know if you can all see this, but this is me at 29 years old on my wedding day, weighing over 250 pounds. And I said weighing over 250 pounds because I had given up on myself and my body, and I was so insecure that I had stopped weighing myself at that time. And this picture was one of my favorite wedding pictures. And I chose this as one of my favorite wedding pictures because I felt like it made me look the most skinny. And ironically, on this wall of graffiti, I'm standing under this quote. And this quote says that all bodies are entitled to experience the pleasure they are capable of. But that's something I didn't believe of myself. I didn't think I was worthy of experiencing pleasure. So, how did this all happen? Well, I spent most of my life feeling like I was the girl on the outside looking in, never quite having the appearance and body that society said was acceptable or desirable. Society made me feel like I was different, that I didn't belong. I grew up with flaming red hair at a time when red hair was not popular. I had braces, I had headgear, I had glasses, all of the things. And I was the fat kid in the 80s and 90s, a time when the ideal body was pencil thin. So because society and the media suggested that somebody who looked like me wasn't enough, I believed them, and so did my peers. They teased me, they ostracized me, they criticized me, they excluded me. So I turned inward, and I also turned to food. Food became my happy place and my best friend because food never judged me, food never shamed me, and it was always there for me. So much so that it became my addiction, something that I constantly had to have to feel good and feel secure. It didn't matter what was happening, good or bad. I was either celebrating with food or drowning my sorrows in food or simply feeling content because I had food. I always look forward to family gatherings and celebrations, but not because I wanted to see my family and friends, but because I knew there would be food. And no matter how much I ate, I would always want more. I became a closet eater, having snacks in bed, hitting up the drive-thru between meals, sneaking nibbles in the kitchen when nobody was around. And there were even times when I ate so much and got so full that I would vomit because my body couldn't handle it anymore. But I still couldn't stop. I just couldn't. I might stop for the night, but would start all over again the next day. And this was the cycle of my life. I was depressed, I had suicidal thoughts, I was despondent and had fully given up. Food was the only thing that kept me going, until one day. So at age 29, I also had my aha moment. I was in bed one evening, food and snacks all around me. I still remember the night. A Palm Bay cooler on my nightstand with a glass of water because, balance, we got to balance everything out. A pack of nibs in one hand, package of Oreos on my lap, and an open box of pizza at the foot of my bed. This was my norm for a TV night at home. On this particular night, I was watching one of my favorite shows. I'm sure some of you have heard of it, My 600-Pound Life on TLC. I watched it all the time. But this one night, I had a realization that if I didn't change my life, one of two things was going to happen to me before my 30th birthday. One, I was going to be featured on an episode of My 600-Pound Life because I was gaining weight so rapidly. Or two, I was just going to die because my heart and body couldn't keep up anymore. And I decided at 29 years old, I wasn't okay with either of those options. And was food truly saving me? And so, with God by my side, I set out to transform my life because I knew that wasn't the end for me. I recognized that there was something that I had to offer the world, that I was worthy of more. I sought help through counseling, which is when I learned that my eating was an addiction, that I had chosen food to hide my pain and my hurt from the past and feeling like I wasn't good enough, that my body wasn't enough. I went through an almost 3.5-year journey of self-discovery, and as I relearned who I was, how to change my narrative, find out what brought me pleasure, and learn to replace my coping habits with healthy routines, I began to flourish in confidence and my weight dropped. To date, I've melted a little over 100 pounds off my body naturally, and I have an incredibly healthy and balanced relationship with food. I've learned that self-perception is everything. I learned that society was not the problem. My inability to believe in myself, that was the problem. So I stopped making excuses and I stopped placing blame elsewhere. As a result of my journey, I am now the CEO and founder of 2 small businesses. I am a body image and mindset mentor for women, and I have the privilege of helping women rise up from despondence and take control of their lives as well by securing their self-worth and their confidence. I help women to build accepting relationships between their mind and body and develop healthy habits for dealing with stress and emotions. I actually just returned from a trip to Paris, France, where I spoke for the first time internationally at a conference on International Women's Day and shared my story. Never ever in my past life or when I was 29 years old did I believe that is something that I would get to accomplish or experience. And I also get to be here tonight sharing my story out loud for the second time. So when things go wrong in our lives, or we wind up in what seems like desolate situations, we tend to question our faith and ask God, why, right? Why me? The woe is me. Don't you love me? Why have you abandoned me? Why have you led me here? Because we feel the physical and the emotional pain and we don't understand why. One of my business coaches always says that even in faith, you have to be prepared to grab the holy shit handles because God is going to take you on a ride. And that's exactly what happened to me, and I think that's exactly what happened to most of you here tonight. We have to remember that God sends us challenges based on what He knows we can handle. That is why we all face different challenges. But that's when it's up to us to grasp those holy shit handles and rise up to meet Him in the middle. We can choose to be broken down, defeated, deflated, and feel worthless, or we can rise up, flourish, grow, and transform, establishing new opportunities for ourselves and for others. Sometimes our challenges aren't even meant for us. We go through these things because God knows our inner strength, and He uses us to serve as beacons of hope and inspiration for others, to share important messages about making the choice to rise up, to meet Him and recognize that there is a way. However, we cannot share a message without first experiencing and cleaning up a mess, and that is what God helps us to do in these challenging situations. If we let Him and we trust His vision, there is always a way up. Thank you.